Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us again. In this presentation, we're going to continue our conversation about vaping, but talk about specific resources for schools. So what can you do, no matter if you're a teacher, a guidance counselor, principal, coach, whatever it may be, there are definitely things you can do. One of the most important things is just to have that initial conversation about vaping. So a lot of kids don't know the general facts that we talked about, like the fact they contain nicotine or many other hazardous chemicals. So sharing some of those facts, dispelling the myths that it's not just water vapor. Again, tying it back into COVID-19, that's a very real issue that we're all focused on today. Remembering that there's no perfect time to talk. Maybe you're a coach and you have it as a locker room conversation because maybe for most athletic leagues, it's a part of the policy. So maybe you say, remember, vaping's part of the policy. And by the way, if this is something you're struggling with, I'm a trusted adult that you can come to, reinforcing that you're not going to get them in trouble, but you just want to help them, practicing those refusal skills on how to say no. And again, asking those open-ended conversations like what they see and what they think. What's their take on vaping? What are their friends' take on vaping? And if they're interested in getting help. If you're having that conversation about vaping and there's someone who's super passionate about prevention and education about vaping, you can encourage them to join the 84 movement. The 84 movement is an organization specific to Massachusetts that it's all youth fighting tobacco in the state. So these are basically like a club for kids, and they can be formed through your school or other organizations like a YMCA, a coalition, things like that. Their role is to be student leaders. So a lot of times kids get the most information and are most influenced by their peers instead of an adult. So they can start a group and to do things like tobacco-free Tuesdays and trainings and hanging up posters and activities to educate other students about the dangers of tobacco in the vaping industry. There's also 2 annual events each year that they get to participate in. The first is in October. It's the Youth Power Summit, where all the chapters come together across the entire state, and they do trainings and activities all day long to brainstorm how they can be the best student leaders in their community and stay up to date on the latest information. And then each April they go, when there's not COVID, they go down to the State House in Boston and participate in Kick Butts Day, pun is fully intended there. And what they do is they march and they talk to legislators all day long about the tobacco issues they care about. One of the really cool things about the 84 that is taking form is the 84 movement is not only a leader in tobacco, but racial justice. So they're doing a lot of trainings and movement and activities focused on the relationship between menthol tobacco and racial justice, but also racial justice in a broader perspective. So there's a lot of kids who have received many grants to do specific racial justice projects in their communities. So it's a really great opportunity for kids to get involved. The other thing you can do is simply hang up reinforcing messages about the tobacco and vaping industries and reasons to stay tobacco free. So the Massachusetts Health Promotion Clearinghouse is a completely free resource where you can download or order free materials. They have every topic from asthma to ticks to COVID-19 and of course tobacco. So you can download these and send them digitally while we're all working from home. Or if you're in person, you can shop online for them, add however many posters, stickers, whatever it may be to your cart, and get them delivered to the school completely for free. So there's things like here we have the equivalent of 1 vape pod being 20 cigarettes. That's a cool one to put maybe in the bathroom. It's a mirror cling. We've got posters, stickers, and little handouts. So things that you can put maybe on in the lobby of the school or in the nurse's office so that if kids are interested, they can grab more information at their own discretion. The more we reinforce messages about quitting, the more likely somebody is going to be in making a quit attempt. So here's some more information about our specific campaigns. And some good news is that these campaigns are actually getting a little bit of a facelift and getting updated with new images and information. So you'll always find the most recent information on the clearinghouse. But here's a poster that is often used in schools comparing a Juul to a cigarette. We actually conducted youth focus groups to say, if we're going to talk to you about vaping, what do you want to see? And that's what they said. They said, don't throw crazy data at me, but just let people know that these two products are one and the same, regardless of the fact they look different. So the blue and yellow campaign is mainly for youth, doing this educational connection. But we also have campaigns for adults, so for parents, for your school peers, for organizations you work with. These have things like the poster you see here. We've also got brochures like the one I'm holding up that has all the basic information about how to talk to kids, some of the general facts. So those are really great resources, again, available completely for free at the Clearinghouse. And we talked about the website that we have, getoutrage.org. Specifically, we have this button here, a whole toolkit for schools. I'm going to go over just a couple of the resources that are in that toolkit, but I highly recommend, again, if you're working in a school, to visit this website, check out the toolkit, and download it completely for free. One resource that's in there that we highly recommend is called a diversion program. So it's an alternative to a suspension or citation. A lot of schools will contact me and they'll say, Ashley, we've caught 20 kids vaping. We don't know what to do. Should we suspend them and send them home? And we strongly encourage suspending kids because, like, for a couple of reasons, like we said, it's not their fault that they're addicted to vaping. It's the tactics that the industry used, and that's why they're addicted. So we don't want to make them feel like they're in trouble, but instead we want to get them the help they need. The other reason is that often kids who vape don't only have one vape. So if you suspend them and send them home, they might look at that as an opportunity to go home and vape at the comfort of their own bedroom. So INDEPTH, which stands for Intervention for Nicotine Dependence, Education, Prevention, Tobacco, and Health, is a completely free diversion program available through the American Lung Association. So any school staff can teach this program. All they have to do is go online to the website and get trained in it. It's a free, easy training, which is really cool because some kids might not feel comfortable going and getting help from their math teacher, but they might feel comfortable going through this program with their coach or their gym teacher, or whatever it may be. So any school staff can get trained in this, and they go through 4 sessions. They're about 30 to 40 minutes each about vaping. So instead of saying, you're caught vaping, you're in trouble, they first are gonna go through the facts, what we've talked about. So what the program is going to entail, why vaping is bad. Then they're going to talk about addiction. So the harmful effects of nicotine and why it's so addictive and what it's doing to them at such a young age. And now that we've talked about addiction, let's talk about alternatives. Maybe you vape because you feel stressed out, but there are plenty of other healthier alternatives to vaping, such as yoga, going for a walk, maybe it's baking, starting a new hobby. So going through alternatives, and lastly, past, present, and future. What are the next steps to staying tobacco-free and avoiding any potential future problems? So this is an educational program. Instead of suspension, they go through this program and they can do it maybe during their lunch, they can do it after school. It can be really flexible so that it's fitting and most beneficial to the student and the adult advisor who's administering the program. So if you're interested, you can just visit the URL on the bottom of the screen. The other thing schools can do is incorporate a vaping curriculum into regular education instead of just afterwards if somebody gets caught. So the Catch My Breath Youth E-Cigarette Prevention Program is available through CVS Health, again, completely for free. And what's really cool about this is that there's versions for as young as 5th grade and as old as 12th grade. So these are 4 lessons that are 30 to 40 minutes, similar to the diversion program, but again, it's incorporated into a regular curriculum. So maybe it's something that the health class decides to cover every Friday of a specific month, so that this is already a part of the education kids are getting in school from a trusted adult. So it gives up-to-date information about how to make informed decisions to stay tobacco and vape free, and just the dangers of it. So it's a really great program through CVS Health. The link can be found in this, again, on the school toolkit that's on getoutraged.org. So we went over the toolkit for schools, and I just want to reiterate that there are free resources to help youth quit in the state. So there's the automated texting program through This Is Quitting, texting the keyword to the phone number. And then there's also the texting and the live verbal coaching available through My Life, My Quit, using the information you see here on your screen. These are great programs to incorporate. The quitting programs are great programs to promote, rather, with the other things like In-Depth and Catch My Breath. So that maybe a student is listening, but they don't feel comfortable reaching out to you. You say, okay, we're going to use our curriculum today to talk about vaping. And by the way, there are these free resources available to help you quit. So someone who doesn't want to talk to an adult, at least they have the information, and they can use it to get help on their own if they're ready. And when we talked about the clearinghouse, I just want to point out that this card here that you see on the right is one of the free resources that you can download or order on the clearinghouse. So it's a little bit bigger than a business card. It has a checklist on the front because many kids think, well, yeah, I want to quit, but I don't think I need to. I don't think it's that bad. Then they go through this checklist and they say, oh, all of these do apply to me. Maybe I should quit. And when they flip this card over, they see this information here with this quit resources. So these are great just to have out in your classroom or in your office. If you're listening and you're a school nurse, there is specific training available for you through our partners at UMass Medical School's Center for Tobacco Treatment and Research and Training. They have specific programs and materials. So if you're interested, there's an online webinar completely for free at the URL you see here on your screen that you can go and check out. If you want to be connected with our specific providers of that program, feel free to reach out to me and I'll connect you with our partners there. But here's just a picture of one of the things that go over it. So there's a specific program that school nurses can get trained in to help students who come to them for quit vaping. And it's got 4-panel brochures, it's got talking point guides, and they all connect back to those quit resources. So feel free to reach out to me or check out the website for more information about that for school nurses. And again, just staying the most up to date about this information by using these trusted resources, and always reaching out to me if you have more questions. Schools often bring me in to give a larger presentation to parents. So if you're interested in gathering a parent presentation about vaping, reach out. If you have questions about the toolkit on our website, reach out. I'm here for you. Otherwise, thank you for listening and stay healthy.